Welcome to this edition of Getting the Most Out of Your Library Textbook Edition. My name is Liz Fuboda, and I am the Instruction and Outreach Librarian here at the Francis Wilson Thompson Library at the University of Michigan Flint. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about getting textbooks from the library through a variety of means. That is not to say that there are other course materials that you can access through the library, things like streaming media and even just articles or book chapters. A lot of professors are moving towards using library material in that way. But for today, we're looking at just full-on textbooks, the whole enchilada. So we're going to look first at requesting or seeing if your items are available in our course reserve system, either physically or as an ebook. Then we'll move on to finding and requesting physical items in the library collections. Then on to accessing ebooks through the library collections. And then finally, after we've exhausted all those different options, we're going to actually look at how you can request items through our interlibrary loan services. So most of this is going to be a tutorial and a demonstration on how I might go about looking for particular books. So we're going to switch over to our library homepage here, and the search box will be in we'll use a couple different aspects of the search box here. We're going to start on our course reserves tab here. So this automatically gives you kind of an idea of what to search for. So search for course reserves by title, author, instruction, course code, etc. So we're going to start off, probably the easiest way to search here is going to be by a particular course code. So if I was going to search for ENG 100, for example, I do a quick search there, and then it is going to come back with a couple of different things. So you might see that there's a page, if a particular course has a page on the guide, you might see that there. It might also be linked down below. There might also be several different options of books here. So even though there are multiple options here, there's really only one book that we definitely know. It's called How to Study in College. And the filters on this course reserve site are pretty nice. So you can actually go by a course name to make sure that it is just English 100 here. So the other results we're pulling because either the course name was like English something or the number was 100, so like UNB 100 courses would have been popping up there as well. If you have multiple sections of a particular class, or you maybe remember your professor's name, you can actually use the course instructor here to show more. So for example, I know that Ms. G is the instructor for English 100, and that's here. Now, for physical items that are on reserve, you'll see that it's available at the Francis Wilson Thompson Reserve Readings, and then there's going to be this course call number here, English 100.G01. That means that this book is actually there, and it's a physical book that you'll need to actually use in class or in the library, or maybe take out for a little bit of time. So you'll notice that there are actually two copies of this book. One is currently on loan, and the other one is in place. So some professors will put multiple copies on reserve. Others, it might just be one. So I mentioned that you can search by other ways too. So there's those filters there to kind of get rid of the things that you don't want to see, but you could even just start off with a search as well. So by your professor's name, for example. And you'll see that Professor Feuerherm really just has one book on reserve right now called The Study of Language. And again, we see that it is available at the Francis Wilson Thompson Library. Now, say, for example, that we need to find something that is by its title. So we're going to go up to our search box and start typing in the title of the book, of our textbook, to see if we have it. You can also search by ISBN and some other things, but I would caution against doing that, and we'll explain why in a little bit here. Because we in fact did find that we do have a book called Demolition Means Progress on reserve, and we'll also see that it's available online. So in this case, we don't have a physical copy on reserve, but there are multiple different ways that you can get access to this ebook, either through the Chicago Press package, or if you go into either ebook central or EBSCO academic ebook collection. These are good ways that you're going to be able to get to that book. Okay. So it really just kind of depends what professors have put on reserve. Not every class will have something on reserve, and that is why we might actually need to go out and look through the library ourselves. So I'm going to click on the library's logo at the top to get us back to our lovely homepage here. And this is where we're going to search in at least 2 different places, or there are 2 different places that you can search in. So the search all, this is going to be good for article level and chapter level materials. So if your professor put the title of a book chapter down, or possibly the title of an article down that you need to retrieve, you can search here for that. It will also bring up, full-length books and ebooks as well. So say we didn't actually have Demolishing Progress on or that we didn't see it on eReserve, or maybe we wanted to see if we have a physical copy of this book. So I'm going to type that in. I've got it in quotation marks to search for that specific phrase. And what will come up again is a results list that looks fairly similar to that course reserve list. It's the same system, just 2 kind of different sections of it. So you'll see that we already have a couple of different things. So we've got an article down here, but it's this is most likely a review of the book that's in there, or possibly it is going to be a smaller kind of article based, not the full version of the book. So if we want to actually see if there is a physical book, we can continue to scroll down and, oh look, there it is, number 2. We could also use our filters to make sure that we are looking at books. And in this case, you'll see that there are 2 here. So let's see if it's available through this top one. And this will take you back to, if you notice, those kind of same ebook options that we saw earlier. Okay, while we're here, we will take a look at how you actually would access these ebooks. Now, since I'm on campus, our library system recognizes that I'm already on campus and I should have access to this. But if you are at home, once you click on one of these database options, you'll need to log in with your unique name and password if you are prompted to. Okay, so again, we have multiple ebook databases, but ebook central and EBSCO academic ebook, these are probably 2 of the most common ones that you'll see. So let's take a look at ebook central here. And again, this is where I would need to log in if I was off campus or hadn't logged in earlier. A couple of things to note about this is that you'll see that we have unlimited access to this book, meaning as many people as we can have access to this book at the same time. You can read it online, and what you might want to do is actually go back here and grab the permalink to this book if you're going to just be referring to it back online all the time. You can download an EPUB file of the book, however that will expire after a while. Or you can also, and what I would suggest doing is downloading PDF chapters at a time. So you can go scroll down here to say grab part 1, for example, and download the full PDF. There doesn't seem to be a restriction on this at all. So this is one of our more open books. Sometimes you will see that, there are a certain number of pages that you can download at once, or that you might only be able to, use the EPUB for a little bit of time. But it looks like this one's pretty pretty good. So say if I wanted to grab this part 1, I would download the entire PDF. And then again, depending on your computer's settings, it might show up automatically like in your downloads folder like mine is. It might pop up as a PDF right away like mine is. It might show up in your browser instead of Adobe Reader. It just kind of depends on, again, your settings. But here it is. I can save this full chapter PDF or this PDF of part 1, save it forever, don't have to worry about it. The other thing and you don't really have to have any special software. Sometimes with the download book, you will need some specific software in order to do it, but that's not the case here. And if you did want to just read this book online, you'd click read online, and then be able to go and scroll through, and then you can even highlight and take notes and stuff within this as long as you have an account and like create an account specifically for ProQuest here. Okay, so there's all sorts of different tools here. We have some other help and tutorials on this. So that's ProQuest ebook central. It's not as easy as like downloading something to your Kindle, but it is definitely fairly easy to use. EBSCOhost is a different company, but it's going to be a similar thing where you can do, you know, a full EPUB download. You can download a PDF of the full text, which is what I would always suggest doing because it's going to be the easiest for you to kind of use across multiple devices. And again, you could download, you know, either like a part or a chapter at a time. And in this case, it looks like we can grab the full download of a book as well. But it might want you to actually sign in and create an account with EBSCOhost. Let me see if I can get one down with just part one. And so, for example, this is one of those limits that you might actually want to show, that you might come up against, right? So we see that there's a number of pages, there's a certain number of pages that you can download at one time, and this is 100. And what I chose, part one, is 125 pages. Okay, so I could go in and grab, you know, a range of 31, so it's the current page, and then the next 31 pages, so that I know that I'm getting the entire chapter one, download the PDF, and then come back, you know, the next day, the next week, maybe even switch my browsers to grab the next couple of chapters that I need. So there are some limits on downloads that are coming up with EBSCOhost, and these same limits might show up in ebook central as well. It just depends on the book and the publisher that book is coming through. Okay. These are just two of our bigger ones. There are going to be others like this DeGrootier one, Springer. Just if you have any trouble accessing anything, because there are a couple of databases like O'Reilly, for example, is sometimes a little bit tricky to use. If you have any questions about that, please ask a librarian, and we'll be able to help with that. If the second option here, though, this is actually going to give us both some online, which is through that reserve system, but it's also going to give us some physical locations as well. So through here, if I click on, if I actually wanted a physical book, you can see that there are a couple of editions at the UM Flint-Thompson Library. And all I would need to do if I was coming to campus is write down this call number, the F through that 2015 number, and locate it on the shelf. The other thing that I could do is I could actually request this item through this series, and especially if there is a copy that's available at an Ann Arbor library. So anything that doesn't say Flint is going to be an Ann Arbor library. But I don't have to drive down to Ann Arbor to get that. I can actually sign in with my UMass credentials here. And then since I'm already signed in, it should just take me a second to kind of populate this. There we go. Okay, then it goes to this cute little request button. And then I just choose my pickup location as Flint, or the Flint Francis Wilson Thompson Library. I will say if the book is owned by an Ann Arbor library, that Ann Arbor library is going to come up to the top, and then the Flint option will be down at the very bottom of the list. But you can just use the scroll to kind of choose where you'd like to pick it up. Okay. Don't worry about filling out anything else. If you put anything in like the pickup date, for example, it might mess up how long an item is on the hold shelf. So just go ahead and leave that alone. We usually keep things on for a couple of weeks. And then we just send request, and then our lovely student workers in the library will pick that off the shelf, and then you'll receive an email when that's available for you to get it. Okay. So this is requesting through kind of our homepage search box. If you are more comfortable searching through the library catalog, you can do that as well on the catalog here. Again, it's fairly similar. A fairly similar process, but it will be a different user interface. So it is defaulted to the library scope of Flint-Thompson Library. You can switch it to all libraries, and actually on the other search, or the search all tab, you can search the Flint and Ann Arbor libraries as well. But that will pull up there. It will bring back both ebooks as well as physical holdings here. So for example, you'll actually see that we have multiple copies at the Flint library, and many of them are available. If I wanted to, again, request through this method, I would go up here, click on the title, and then scroll down to an option and click Get This next to a particular copy. And then if I was not already signed in, I would need to sign in with my unique name and password, which it'll take me a second to, because I'm already signed in on another option here. But it recognizes that I'm here, and I would just click Pick It Up at a library, and really similarly find Thompson Library You Own Flint in the drop-down list, hit Get Me This Item, and again, you'll get an email when that book is available for you. With items that are in the Flint collection, we pull lists twice a day. So if you request it in the morning, it's probably going to be available in the afternoon if the library is open. For items that are coming from Ann Arbor, we only get deliveries twice a week, so on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you request something on Monday, it'll probably be here Tuesday. If you request something on Friday, again, it might take a little bit more time to get here. And that, of course, is always if the librarians and staff can find the book on the shelf, because things go missing every once in a while, just in case. All right. So that's finding things through that the library owns. But what if we don't actually have this item? Maybe you're not finding it through the search all. It's not coming up in the catalog search. It's not in course reserve. You hopefully have asked a librarian for some help, because again, we have some special skills in order to help you find these things. But if all else fails, we do have a service called interlibrary loan that will actually help you connect to libraries outside of the University of Michigan system. So this system is bigger than even like Melcat. If you're used to using that through your public library or maybe another school library, that's just the state of Michigan. Iliad and the interlibrary loan system actually connects to libraries around the world. I do have a full video on this, but on our YouTube channel. But all you would need to do is log into Iliad here. And again, since I'm already logged in, it's going to kind of recognize it. It'll see that I already have some items checked out, and then there are a couple of outstanding requests that I have. So these are things that I've already kind of asked for. Now, you can actually even request copies of articles, like a PDF of an article if we don't have it. So those will show up here. So in order to actually request something, you're going to need to know what type of request it is. Is it an article? Is it a loan of a physical material, which is most likely what you're going to want to use? Is it a book chapter, or is it a thesis? The reason there's so many options is that there's specific information that our interlibrary loan staff is going to need in order to find this. Okay, so for example, if I want a physical copy of something, I'm going to use this title that I grabbed off of the bookstores option here. So Spiceland, Nelson, Thomas, and Mitchell. Okay. It'll ask definitely for that ISBN number, which is really important to get the correct edition that you want. So I'm going to grab that as well. The other thing that will help you speed up requests, but isn't necessarily required, the first three here have that red required next to them, which again, you definitely need to have. The OCLC number down here will often speed requests. So if you click on WorldCat, it'll open up in a new window, and it'll actually again have a search box here that will populate here, and you can actually even just use like the ISBN number here and like change this to standard number, which ISBN is a standard number, and click search. And then what should come back? Ooh, hold on. Take out the dash here and see if that helps. No, it's not. Okay, so sometimes the book, like especially if it's like a book with access or an ebook, sometimes it won't always go. So instead, I'm going to grab intermediate accounting, make this a title, and then I'm going to put in at least the author's name here for the search. And again, it might take a little bit to try and find the specific edition that you want down this way, but again, this is why the OCLC number isn't absolutely necessary. It's always useful, but for textbooks, sometimes finding the specific edition, it's a little bit harder. So at this point, we're just going to ignore it because it's not required. You can put any additional information. The more that you put in is going to be useful. So for example, this is a McGraw-Hill. Date of publication, for example, is going to be 2022. And the 11th edition, and actually the edition is the 11th edition, I believe. Yes. Okay. Now, with textbooks, make sure that you check with your instructor that a different edition is useful. A lot of instructors will allow you to use 1 or 2, possibly even 3 editions back of a book. So if that's an option, say yes. If not, say no. Electronic or print version. So if you want a physical copy, make sure that you have print only. And then down at the very bottom, not wanted after. So if you, for example, this is towards the very end of the semester. Hopefully this would be able to come through before the end of the semester. But if you do want to make sure that it's here, try to make sure it's here by a certain time, you could change that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come faster. It kind of depends on how many libraries in the world own the book and if they're willing to lend it to us. But that is an option. And then at the very bottom, you're going to submit the request. And then it comes into my outstanding request area down here. And once, if that book comes in and it's available it'll be sent to the University of Michigan Flint Library circulation desk, and you'll get an email when it is available. So that was a very quick run through of the different options that we have for finding textbooks through the library. Again, there's much more than just textbooks through the library. A lot of instructors are going to have articles or streaming media or anything. If you have any questions, please reach out to a librarian in the future. But if you have any questions for me, this is a great time to ask those. And if not, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this recorded webinar. Find upcoming webinars to register for at libcal.umflint.edu.